another, this one here really do it for you.
Baby, all the floor is yours. Yeah, baby, I made the floor is yours. If it come down to the floor is yours. Let me show you how cool the floor is yours. 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 The floor is yours.
Now it's my turn to tell y'all about my big bro Gerard and the podcast crew.
Took a little work, but we here. We here.
We are. We did that thing.
Yeah. You want to open this up, Gregory?
Yeah, I guess so. No. Hey, guys, once again, you are with us with The Floor is Yours, man. This is the spot where we tell the truth and nothing but the truth, so help us God. And so whatever it is that needs to be discussed, we're not afraid to say it here. And so like every other time we get together, we're just going to give you the straight facts. We're going to give you the honest truth. And what I love about us is that not only are we truth tellers, but you're going to get different perspectives. We are a group of friends. We are like family. We don't always agree, but that's okay, because what you're going to do is you're going to see the issues from a 360. We're not just a monolith in our thinking. We like to look at issues from every different perspective, because you know what? Everybody has different perspectives based on where they come from, the skin that they're in, the experiences that they have. And so that's what we're going to talk about today. And today's topic is like nothing else. So everybody, if they're honest, I think, has that one person in their life that if they called them right now, you would stop what you're doing and go see about them. And so today it's going to get a little bit. You're gonna feel a little smoke because we're gonna step on some toes today. And so we're gonna pose the question today: should you spin the block? What happens when a relationship is over, but the feelings are still there? Would you give a person a second chance? And so I'm excited about this topic. What about you guys?
Yeah. It's a couple keeping rules. So y'all know the name of the game. This is the Floor is Yours podcast, where we give real effort into making sure that we're hearing your voice. So type your comments in, and we'll make sure we get to as many as possible. Also, follow us on your favorite social media profile or platform. I'm sorry. You know, we're on Facebook. We're trying to get everybody on YouTube so we can start making some money off this thing too, so we can improve the product. But we're on IG as well, so look for us. And also on our personal page, go follow I see Amisha Thomas, Gregory McKinney. You know, they always got good inspirational stuff for y'all to really benefit from in your life. But we're going to get to this discussion again. I'm going to read the post, and then we're going to make sure that we try to get to every comment. But the question was this: imagine someone divorcing or breaking up with you, but later realize that they made a big mistake. Are you letting that person spin the block and come back in your life? We want to hear from everybody. So, you know, if you want to go in and put your comments in now and let us know yes or no, but we're going to challenge everybody thinking and, you know, on the why behind the decision that you make. But we're going to start with I see, you know, and I know it's not a simple yes or no, but what you got for the topic?
Well, first of all, I want to say this. I got to give a shout out to my girl Ivory. She couldn't get on. She was looking. Ivory she in the comment section because she was looking so good. It kept knocking her off of the connection because she was. She was looking good, skin glowing. That blue dress was popping. I just want to say that first, okay? I love you, girl. Stay in them comments. Keep us going. But as Gerard asked me the question about the spin the block, that can go two ways now, because I've allowed somebody to spin the block, and I divorced, and spent it for about 3 years, child. And then in the end, he spent another block and went another direction. Well, how about that? Went back to another spinning block. So I know it can happen, but I don't think I'm in a place. I guess it depends on too what that looks like. But at this point in my life, I'm not looking to spin no blocks.
Yeah, so that's a hard absolute no. And I think, you know, I always say circumstances, situations change. I know you enough to know that I think it depends, you know, who and what. But maybe
I don't think I've got anybody in my past though that I really want to spend.
That's what I was going to say. Yeah, at this point, yeah.
So. Now we're good. I got friends, but I don't want to spend the block with them. I help them, you know, move forward and help them find somebody to find a new block to ride on. But no.
What about you, Greg? You gonna help?
Well,
you help your
can we first define what spin the block means for those people who may not know?
Yeah, give them a definition.
Yeah,
Gerard, how would you define that?
How I would define, so I wish Ivory was on because this is really her topic. You know, Ivory be coming with the hot topics. But spinning the block meaning that in this particular situation, it's they decide they didn't want to be with you. So they go out and try to live life, you know, happily somewhere else with somebody else doing whatever. But something hits them in that current or that future or that current relationship and it didn't go well. And they realize the value in you. So guess what? They're going to circle back or spin the block and come back and say, hey, you know, I made a mistake. And they could be genuine and they can be, you know, have changed and made some moves in their mind. But, you know, it's not just them. They need you to buy in to that. So are you going to allow someone to spin the block with you, Gregory?
You know, it depends. I know, and I hate answering questions with the word depends because I like definites, yes or no. But it will depend on if that person has done their work, you know, because relationships don't always end because someone was malicious. Sometimes you outgrow people. Sometimes a person may be moving across the country for a job, military. It could be a variety of things that a person can break up relationships in for, not just because someone had done something dirty. And so if the relationship ended and we were still kind of mutual friends, then I'm open to it. But if you were looking to re-engage with me after a breakup and you had done me dirty, I would have to have seen that you've done your work. I would have to have seen that you now recognize my value, what I bring to your life, and what are you going to bring to my life differently than you did before. I am open to it, but you're going to have to show that you really, really are wanting, that you really have changed behavior, and now you're ready for something real. So I'm open.
And you know, the thing is, there's a lot of ifs and wins in it, but let's talk about, we talked about last week, like breakups are hard, man. Yeah. It takes a lot out of you. And especially if you're married and kids and, you know, now the kids have suffered and, you know, your friends and family have been brought in to prop you up and lift you up. Man, that's tough, right? So I'm not saying that it can't happen, but that's a lot to consider to try to bring back somebody in your life that, man, left you flapping in the wind and hanging, you know, out the dry. I'm not saying that it can't be done, but I think we got to look at it in this perspective, at least this situation.
You know, the best apology, of course, is change behavior, right? And so has this person truly changed? And do you feel like they are worth it? Because relationships are hard and they are a lot of work, but you should find someone who is worth the work. Right. And so if you find someone who is worth the work and they've really changed, then why not? You know, because I have worked with a lot of couples. I've seen a lot of couples that have remarried, have, you know, gotten back together after years apart. And it was better the second time around. That should have been our opening song today. But it does work out for some people because they recognize I had something good and I lost it.
Yeah, and
it's a flip of the coin on that one too. You can get with somebody else and they do the work, and then they go back to because that person they ain't got to do no work with. And at that point, so you got to look at a lot of things. And then even if they get back together, they haven't did the work with each other. They've actually done the work. They're getting the benefits of what somebody else did to help that other person grow and navigate. And so what we do, at times we will backtrack because there's no more work to do. So if we coming back together, am I working with the person that we're working on what we needed to change with each other, or have you changed with somebody else and then you come back and I reap the benefits of it, but I didn't really put in the work with you. I just get my door opened, or you take me out to eat, or you do something different. But the old issues that we had in an old relationship, if we just get back together after all these years, we haven't dealt with those issues because you've been with somebody else. You got to look at that thing both ways.
Well, there are two forms of work. There has to be an individual work and there has to be a couple work. And so I totally agree with you. Like that person, you have to come together and work on it together. But, you know, when we say do the work, you know, we want to make sure that you read the books, went to the seminars and did the workshops. But also, how do you know that the work is working? And so the measuring rod for that would be an extended period of time of change positive behavior. And so just because you read one book doesn't qualify you have done the work. That means I've seen you have changed behavior from all of 2024 and all of 2025. I've seen you are a new creation. And so now I feel comfortable around you. And now after you've had that extended period of time of positive change behavior, now we can come together and do the work. It's going to be work regardless. But I think first, before you allow that person to come back, have they had a season of time where they have shown evidence of change behavior?
You know, and you make some great points. And to the audience out there, the comments are coming in, and we really appreciate. We're going to get to these comments. I'm looking at some of them, and we're going to make sure that we address them in its totality. But Gregory, you make a great point. You know, what does work look like? You know, and the issue with work, sometimes we don't know until we get into it again, and you find out, like, you know what, I tried it. Now I'm triggered. Now, which brings me to another discussion. A topic is, am I going to give that person a fair shake? Am I healthy enough myself to get that person a fair chance? Or am I going to hold it over their heads? Is that person, have they even forgiven themselves for what they did to you? Or are they going to be walking on eggshells and scared to truly be themselves? So there's a lot to consider. And for that reason, when I made the post, a few people reached out to me, and it was like an emphatic no. And I get it because of their experience, you know, what that person did to them. One person talked about, hey, what if it was physical violence? And it was an absolute no. But there's a lot involved with it when you come back trying to forget the hurt that you experienced when that person left you. So, you know, self-help books are good. Therapy is good. But, you know, that changes in the heart of both people and being able to forgive on a level that says, like, you know what, man, I'm going to do whatever it takes for us to be together. And unfortunately, doing that in the beginning sounds good, but you got to make yourself vulnerable to being hurt again if you're going to love at the highest levels. Would y'all agree with that?
Yeah, I'm going to be Petty Crocker when we first get back together if you've done me dirty. I mean, I am going to be Petty LaBelle. You know, it's going to be, remember when you did this? I'm going to keep it real because I got to get my lick back. I'm going to remind you of how bad you made me feel. And so, but you're absolutely right, Gerard. Have I reached a level of forgiveness? You know, am I giving you a fair chance? Have I wiped the slate clean that we can really have a fresh start? And if I'm still Petty LaBelle, then it's going to, you know, it's just going to be, we're wasting each other's time here. And so I need to give some forgiveness in my heart for you so we can have a fair shot.
Yeah, that's good. That's good. So how about we just take a moment, about 5 minutes. We're going to read some of these comments because they're coming in and I don't want to get too far away from them. So again, we got people tuning in from all over the country. Thanks, my good friend Elizabeth Jennings. Dr. Jennings is having an event this weekend at Clean. I'm going to be down there to support her. Appreciate the hard work that you're doing in the community. But she says hello. Hey, this is for you, I see. I would say she's been drinking her water and minding her business. And we said earlier, her Black-owned business, right? Dr. Jennings says she's here for the conversation. Appreciate it. And my brother, Kenneth, appreciate you tuning in. But Kenneth said 100% new block to ride on. So I think what he's saying that he ain't going. If it was over, it's over, and Kenneth ain't going. So
no, I think that's when I told him I would help them, but somebody was trying to come back to me. I told him I would help them find a new block to spin on.
Oh, okay. That's what Tamika's saying too. Not find a new block. Yeah. That's something that's a level of maturity, right? Say, you know what, I forgive you, but you're not for me, so I can even help you find somebody else. Now I'm imagining in that situation, I see, if you're gonna put your stamp of approval on that person, you probably known that they're doing the work and they're better, and so much that you're ready to even help them find somebody else.
Well, no, I was really being sarcastic. In other words, that means just gone on, because now it's a new block for you, but I'm not to spin the block. So now I don't have a resume of approval to give to them. I just don't.
I got you. Appreciate the comment from Tina. She said, "Oh no, I'm moving on up to the east side, like George and Weezy, right? She ain't going." So this is a good question right here. She said, "What if it's only changed behavior just enough to get you back?" So that's one of those things where you don't know. You don't know, right? They do the work, and like people can put up a good front for a short period, but it's one of those things like you don't know until you get in it and you subject yourself to being hurt all over again, right?
Yeah,
That's true.
Yeah.
Because some people, they get you back in that relationship, and then they also do the old things that they did in the beginning. We're no longer in that place anymore. We are, whether that was a year later or two, there's a different dynamic or a road to travel that we're now on. So old things do not move, or they didn't move me. Like, hey, I've been down that road, that don't work. And so now it's the matter of sitting down, talking to me. Where am I headed? Where is my mind? And where have I changed? Because we don't go into all that. We just kind of sometimes just jump back on in it and just roll with it and don't really sit down and we don't talk about nothing. We just kind of be like, most time it's the flesh anyway. I'm just going to be honest. You just be, or just sometimes we don't want to be by ourselves and it's easier just to deal with that. I'm just saying, so, nah.
Yeah. You got good.
No, you're absolutely right. I think you have to be discerning too. And so if this person had, changed this for a month or two, but then they started repeating those old habits, then you have to accept the fact that that is their default setting. That's who they are when everything is copacetic. And if that's their default setting, then you have to go away.
And that's unfortunate because I've seen, and I've been guilty of it myself. Like when I've done something wrong, I go hard. I know we talked before how men, like they go into gift mode. Like, man, let me go buy gifts and take you to dinner and, the massages. And man, we are the ideal husband. But the issue with that is, honestly, that's not sustainable behavior. If we're honest about it, right? You're going to spend yourself into a deficit where now you ain't got no money. And, it's just, I don't think you being realistic. So a lot of people don't know when we're talking about what it means to do the work. And there's people like Gregory who have dedicated their lives to helping and giving people pointers and actual activities, right, Gregory, to go home with and try to figure out if you're even ready for that. So can we spend some time there to talk about like what that looks like from your perspective when people are doing the work?
Yeah. So what doing the work means, you first things first, you got to do an inventory of what are you accountable for. So you got to say, I was responsible for losing trust. I was responsible for the anger. I was responsible for the financial disappointments. And that's really painful for a lot of people to do because when the relationship ends, they want to say, well, it was a little bit of both of us because she did this, I did that, he did that, and I did this. Well, first, let's take ownership of what were your contributions to the demise of the relationship. And we're gonna make a list of those things. And we're gonna do that. And then you're gonna have to say, what were the consequences? Well, when I lied, she lost trust in me. And so we do those things. And then we got to ask yourselves, here's where it gets tricky. Why did you behave that way? Why did you feel it was necessary to lie? Why did you feel it was necessary to steal? Why did you feel it was necessary to cheat? What made you think that was the best course of action instead of, being more honest and forthright? That requires a lot of pain. A lot of people are very, very, it sounds easy as I'm saying it now, but a lot of people are very resistant to say, I cheated because I was horny and I didn't know how to connect with my person. I lied. It's true. I lied because I was afraid of being vulnerable. And that's hard for a lot of people to admit. So first things first is take an inventory so you can be accountable for your own actions.
Yeah, and that takes some delicacy, if you will, some men. Can't do it out of anger and hurt, right? Because I think you end up doing, if I'm the one that got hurt and I'm drilling her like that, I think, can't that get tricky? And I say that because I think we probably selling ourselves short if we really want to heal from that. If we selling ourselves short, if we don't bring a professional in to help us navigate that.
Yeah, you are because the second part of all that is you have to change your tribe. You have to get around a circle of people who are investing and want the best from you and out of you. You have to have people around you that are going to, how can I say, that know you and then will know you. That makes sense? That understands you and they will not always tell you yes. Yeah. So that know you and will know you. You need a tribe of people around you that you can be open to and that will give you the honest truth when you need it. So that's the second step, which is very important.
You know, I see earlier too, y'all was talking about this whole like we both could do something different. We could have done something different. And I'm careful about that because you can almost get into victim blaming or either me taking responsibility for her bad behavior. You know, if he or she did something that was very damaging that ended the relationship, I think we got to be careful to say, yeah, I could have done something different. I could have been more patient, which is true, but that's not the reason that we broke up, because I responded in a not so good way and you left because you didn't like the accountability. Does that make sense, Tia?
Yeah, victim mentality is both external and internal. So you can flip that, and a lot of people, when at the end of a relationship, would say, "Well, it was because I wasn't good looking enough, because I was, not handsome, or I didn't have enough money, or I wasn't pretty, or I wasn't a size 3, or all the type of things." So we
And
become
to make myself available
self-deprecating.
for him as much as he wanted. Like,
Yeah,
that's a real one.
yeah. So it's both external and internal, the victim mentality.
Yeah, that's good. That's good. You want to add anything on that before we move on? I see to some of the
I'm absorbing like a sponge at this point. You know, when I go into my little absorb mode, because I'm like coming with something over here.
For sure. Tamika says, right, I need to see the changed man you become that works for the relationship. You're right. So sometimes we go out and you see men become successful, or the woman, financially successful. But when it comes to them being in a relationship, they could still suck. And sometimes people are willing to overlook and say, like, hey, I've changed now. Look at me holding down a job. Look at me managing my finances better. But what does that mean for as being a lover or a mate, right? It's not synonymous with that. Yeah. Kenneth said he agree, of course. Ivory says, I will say no before I decide to leave. I will try to make it work. So when I leave, there is no going back. So my cousin commented on the post earlier. She kind of mirrored that comment right there. She said before she decided to call it quits, she's put her heart into it. So circling back is not an option. So what do y'all have to add on that?
Go ahead. I see. I don't want to interrupt.
Well, you do put in the work when you want a relationship to work, right?
Yeah.
However, even for me, I separated and I moved into my own place because there were things that needed to be done on him, because we can set the atonement as women in a lot of instances where we take the lead and we structure everything, and it's just not how it's supposed to be, especially when we want to allow the man to be the head of the household. So you put in the work and you're navigating through that, and in the end it's still this tug of war, because at the end of the day you're looking for the partnership, but you're realizing that you're with someone that doesn't know how to do automatic branch offs, that I know how to be the man, but I also know how to be the husband and the dad, but I know how to balance it. So when you putting in the work and you're doing all that you can and you separate because you think it's going to be there, or then you run into religious barriers and all that, it becomes to be a lot when you're the one steady wanting it to work, and then the end it don't. So what do you do when nothing has separated you as far as like infidelity or anything like that? It's just where you just know that these two people are not growing together. There's going to be something that's going to divide. We may have good hearts, we may have good intentions, but somebody's not willing to go the extra mile. And when it gets to that, that's like a lifeline being sucked out of you, and it ain't worth it. I promise you, I can love you and walk away. I can love you and not wish no ill will towards you, but I will love you to the expense that I have to die in the relationship with no knowing that you're not going to be able to come back and breathe life back into me, and I'm gonna have to phone a friend for a lifeline. It ain't worth it. I wish you well, whatever you choose to do. There is no hard feeling. It may even hurt on how you maybe choose to left me or try to whatever you want to do, but I'll take that in the event that it allows me to be free. It allows me to be healthy and whole. Salute.
Yeah, that's a lot of good wisdom right there.
That was good. That was good.
That,
if I could
go ahead.
If I could echo on what you just said, statistically, women are more vocal toward the end of a relationship. A woman will let you know 10, 20, 30 times what her issues are and what the problems are before she decides to leave. Men generally stay in relationships longer. Statistically, I know there's an exception to every rule, but women are more prone to end a relationship more than men are. And men tend to not respond when women are saying, hey, here is my issue. Because a woman generally would give a man 4 months of ramp up time before she leaves. That's what the statistics show. She would say 4 months ahead before she leaves. Here are the problems I'm having, and men don't respond to those things. Thinking she's just talking, she's just nagging. But I would urge men that when your woman starts telling you she's having problems, start the clock, because in 4 months she's walking out the door. That I know is an exception to every rule. Some women move faster, some women move slower, but 4 months is generally the length of time that you have before that woman will end the relationship.
Man, appreciate those great nuggets. I like this comment right here from Corey. Corey said, I think people try to come back after the previous plan fails. Sometimes the grass ain't greener on the other side. And that's the gist of it, right? Most people don't leave to be lonely. You know, some people are mature enough to say, like, you know what, this ain't working and whatever. Not placing blame, but if it's not working. But some people leave because they got something already, you know, in line, you know, and it seems like the grass is greener, but sometimes it's not, right?
It's not.
I've been waiting on this one. I've been waiting on this one.
Why you been waiting on it?
Because when I saw it, I'll agree, but I'm gonna give a spin to it. It says, I think people try to come back after the previous plan fails. Sometimes the grass ain't green on the other side. I'm gonna add to this, but sometimes the grass that's green on the other side, they're not able to maintain it, so they go back to where they can maintain and not have to do a lot of water neither.
So the grass was greener, right? But they couldn't maintain it.
Yeah, so they went back to where it was less maintenance, where they could know that there wouldn't be where I have to change to be a better person for this relationship. So I'll go backwards because I don't have to do any maintaining of the garden or pulling up of the weeds. I can just go back because it's low maintenance. And I'm not talking about low maintenance as materialistic thing. When people get to a place that they don't want to be challenged anymore, to go to a different level, they will go backwards in order to not have to do it anymore because they're stuck and they're settled in that place. So I'll go agree with that, but I'll put a spin on it too.
Yeah, I like that, man. And you know, I made a post years ago that it was addressing this right here about the grass being green on the other side. Sometimes it is, you know, for a different reason. What IC just said.
Right.
Sometimes the relationship you're in, and since we're talking about soil, that soil is desolate and it's just not suitable for the seeds that you're trying to plant. So sometimes you got to make those hard decisions. I know it's familiar, and you know you've been in there. You might have kids and started finances, you know, together about building houses, and you know you get deeper and deeper. But some people are in toxic situations, and because it's familiar. And I was going to say comfortable. It's not comfortable, but we'll make it comfortable because it's familiar. And I realizing like, hey, this is doing much more damage staying here than it is good. So you end up leaving sometime, but because it's familiar, you come back to it.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that's good. I like this one right here from my brother Brandon. Y'all remember Brandon last week or the week before? Brandon said that him and his ex still live together. I don't know if you want me to restate that. He might have got beat up for it, but Brandon says spaceships don't come equipped with rear view mirror. And,
you know what? Now that I look at a spaceship, I guess it don't. It shows.
Oh man, Tamika's laughing at Gregory calling himself Petty LaBelle. Yeah, we don't want to, if you're gonna let the person back, you should try to give it your all.
Petty Crocker, that's right.
Yeah, I also said I'm going to be honest. I can't give them a chance, and that's important. You just got to know you and your limitations and what you're willing to deal with, and you know, sometimes it might mean that you miss out on a beautiful opportunity. But hey, you got to know you and what you're willing to agree with. Heather said that she agreed with Corey Sanders. I wonder why. That's me being petty too. I'm gonna move on for this comment. Hey, look at you.
Tyler Petty. Hey,
she said she got to get her lick back first. Oh, she was talking about Gregory earlier. Yeah,
she got to get her lick back.
I'm tired of reading. We want to read this comment from Tina and respond to it.
She said they can come back with new work, but when does the old self come back? But when does the old self come back to the surface? She said, you don't hurt and leave someone you truly love from the heart. Call me Petty T.
I gotta agree, it's hard. So I talked about that earlier. Like when people leave, like it's damaging. I remember TD Jakes said that when the flesh becomes one, like when people get married and they break up, that's like tearing of the flesh. it's painful. And I mean, it's not just you, if you got kids involved, and separating assets. Like, I know you hear stories about people like going bankrupt or losing it all, credit and everything. So it's not just like, oh, I had a bad day and I didn't want you, but I want you back now, so let's do this. Like, there's a lot of emotions and a lot of hurt that could be involved with those type of breakups, right?
Yeah, absolutely. You know, and even with couples that have just separated but are still legally married, a lot of times in counseling, I do advocate for a trial separation where the couples will find, you know, different places to live for 3 months while they think about, is this really the lifestyle that they want? And within those 3 months, they try to work on, is this, you know, do I want to get back or do I not want to get back? But within that 3 months, they will determine if this person is worth it or not. And then they will weigh out the options. Like, I got to literally turn my life upside down. So before I do that, maybe working on a relationship is easier than doing a complete overhaul of my entire life.
You know, a lot of people will hear that and they'll say, I've heard people say this, the worst thing you can do as married couples is to move out and separate, because now you allow other situations to infiltrate and influence it. So if you're giving people that advice, like, what are some boundaries you're giving them, Gregory, to make sure that they have some kind of, what's the word I'm looking for, purity, if you will?
Yeah, absolutely. So, you know, you're separating not to live the wild life. You're separating so that you can find clarity. And that's the purpose of this time apart. It's not to see other people, so because you're still married. It's not for you to go call up, somebody that you once had time with in the past. It is a time for you to really spend in prayer, meditation, and focus, and figure out what it is you actually want. And within those 3 months of separation, you will still meet with your spouse maybe once a week or so, and just have like a marriage meeting. What are your thoughts? How are you doing? And that kind of thing. But you want to find out who you are, and is this person nurturing your soul? So there are boundaries. There's no dating. You can't do that. There's it's just no co-mingling with other people. It's just really a time of isolation so you can find clarity.
That's good. That's good. I'm going to do one more. We're going to do from Dr. Jennings. So we're going to read this one, then we'll go to a commercial break. Gregory, you want to take this one?
Yeah. I have learned to love from a distance instead of reconnecting. It is definitely a personal decision and so many factors to consider. Healing and the ability to release is a gift. I totally agree. I say this also. A person can remain in your heart, but not in your life. And I think that takes a whole lot of maturity when you realize that I don't have to hate you. You don't have to be a villain in my story, but I want to get to a point where I can love you and it not hurt anymore. And that's where we all are striving to be, that I can still love you, but just not in a way that hurts me.
Yeah, that's good. That's good. I see you want to add anything on that before we go to our commercial break?
It's something you said. You said you can somehow keep them in your heart.
Yeah, a person can remain in your heart, but not in your life.
No, they just in my prayers. they ain't in my heart. No.
And they gonna be all right, huh? I see.
When I say the Lord gonna take care of them, He gonna take care of them.
Yeah, and I get it. I get that's a heavy burden to try to carry, because I think it can get the line can be blurry. If you're carrying somebody in your heart, and then what is their responsibility or there for you to tend to them, be there for them, listen to them?
I love it.
Friends, though. I mean. Yeah,
because they're carrying in your heart. How you want to be friends, divorcing and going on when we really wasn't friends in the marriage, But then you finna do some side stick on the back end stuff, and you want me to be your friend because you want me to still be the nurturer. Oh, I've been there where they still want you to give them a prayer and encourage them. Hey, I tell you what, the Lord gonna help you at the church. When you go to the church, go to the altar.
Hey, that's like at the fair when you go and you get that consolation prize. Because you didn't win, since you're here, at least let me just give you this little small bear. That's what that seemed like right there. Going on.
I just want to put them on that dunking booth. That booth at the fair when it's the water. I just want to sit them up there and hit the little circle and make them dunk in the water, baby.
You gotta appreciate her honesty, huh, Gregory?
You got to. And that's the sign of the person that was wounded, but the person that did the wounding sometimes feels different, where it's like, I messed up a really good thing.
I get you.
And you don't want to beat yourself up by saying, I still care for this person. Just accept it. I still care for them, but I still need to move on.
Yeah.
So let's go to a commercial. We're gonna come back and we're gonna get to a couple more comments.
It's some good comments.
Your success ain't gonna happen overnight. It may take a year, it may take 2 years, it may even take 10 years. For some people, it might take even longer than that. But one thing I do know, as long as you keep fighting and staying consistent, you will make it. Look in the mirror and ask yourself, are you gonna make it?
Creed. Step in that water, step in that water, step in that water. Yeah. You gotta be willing to go out and get it. You gotta dive in it, go and get it. Step in that water, step in that water, step in that water. Yeah.
Step in that water, step in that water, step in that water. You gotta be willing to go out and dive in it. You heard me? When I heard that song, I had to put my sun shades on. I just want y'all to know that's how I feel about this song.
Yeah.
I'm back. I see back.
Yeah, so that's our the official barber for the Floor is Yours podcast, a good friend of ours, Miracle Hendricks. He has a barbershop in the Dallas-Fort Worth area, actually out in the Colony, and he sells a number of things. He not only does he cut hair, and he help you treat your beard. He sells shades and clothes and other kind of jewelry and everything. So reach out to the brother, man. He does great work, great work. I went to him before I started growing, his hair and getting his length. He used to be my barber.
Oh, Lord.
Famous plug right there. So, yeah, Miracle Hendricks, y'all make sure y'all reach out to the brother. But I like this one right here. She said, not everyone, from Dr. Jenny, she said, not everyone can stay connected to a counselor, but having an objective opinion about a past relationship can help to bring clarity when individuals get blinded by love or possibility. That's good. That's good, because sometimes we can get so focused on the good that we forget that person hurt us. Like they did a lot of damage and we'll overlook that. And sometimes you gotta, they tell forgive and forget. I ain't never been a fan of that right there. God gave us these memories for a reason. And it's for us to remember the hurt. Especially for some of the most egregious things, we need to remember that. Why are you going to keep going to a toxic situation, a physically abusive situation, someone who's doing whatever to you, right? And to act like you forgive. I mean, you can forgive, but that don't mean you forget what they did. And that memory sometimes they help you make the best decision, right?
Well, I got to clarify. God never said forgive and forget. He did say forgive, but he never said forget. He encourages us to use discernment as well.
Absolutely.
He said, as a dog returns to his vomit, so does a fool to his folly. So,
man, come on, we're bringing clarity to the word, brother.
Forget.
Give us the context of that thing.
Yeah. Kenneth said, yes, facing the facts of my shortcomings, self-evaluation. It takes maturity. But here's another thing we talked about. If you try to self-diagnose, sometimes you're going to misdiagnose. Sometimes you got to get to the professionals and talk to some other people. Let them tell you about yourself. Because, to me, I'm the best guy out there, right? But I need to talk to Gregory and IC and Ivory and some of my other good friends. Hey, what do y'all think about me? And be willing to hear it too. And hopefully they deliver it in love. They're not beating you down. But yes, that's self.
I agree with everything everyone is saying, but I also try to look at it 360 because I speak to a lot of the wounders and also as much as I speak to the wounded. And a lot of the wounded always, feel like, okay, I'm going to build this wall. Ain't nobody ever going to hurt me anymore. I got to set these standards, and this is the way it's going to be. But the wounders do carry a lot of guilt when they feel like they have lost the best thing they've ever had. They lost the love of their life, the best woman, the best man, and now they really want to change their ways. And so there's a lot of people out there that know that they were the cause of the downfall of the relationship and are really trying to get back into the good graces of the person. But the reality also is you got to accept the fact that sometimes you burnt that bridge and that person's not going to want you back. And so there I do have a little bit of sympathy for the people that have, the light bulb finally went off. You've lost the best thing you've ever had. But now you got to accept that it's never coming back.
Hey, that's good. Hey, I like this question right here. I wish I could bring Dr. Jennings on and let her, you and Gregory, her and Gregory tag team this question right here. But Gregory, since you dabble in this space, why don't you address this one right here?
Why do we all think a counselor can always help? Most of them are not married, so how can they advise? I love that question. Thank you to whoever asked
That
that
tickled
question.
Greg.
Michael
That
Houston.
did.
Yeah.
That did. And so there's multiple ways I can answer that question. But when you go to a counselor, you're not just in front of someone who's sharing your same life experience. The benefit is that you're in front of someone who has had a different experience, so they can be objective. And so if we walk the same path, then I only know what you know. I only see what you've seen. So I can offer you nothing new. But because I've had different life experiences, I've had different challenges and different obstacles my way, I can offer you new insight and a new perspective that you never have thought of before. And so, yes, it is great to be with someone who can identify with the path that you walked on, but you can only benefit from someone who can give you something new.
And might I add, because when I look at it, it said most of them are not married, but it's still about relationships. So it's not about being just a married. It's about being able to talk to someone that knows about what relationships look like from abroad, whether that's this person, and we just think that, oh, they got to be married. Like, they be telling, single people can't tell you nothing. Married people can tell you everything. I mean, I
Yeah.
beg to differ, but hey, I listen. I can listen to people that have been through some things, have grown for us. They may have been married, but they may have been divorced. That don't mean that it was just a bad thing because they got the divorce. What was the reason behind it? But give me something to grow from on how not to go back down a road of that I would be divorced again. So I definitely I look at that differently in my age where I am now.
The best marriage advice I have gotten has been from divorced people, honestly. The best marriage advice I've gotten has been from people that have been divorced. Yeah.
Because let's be honest, some of the married ones, and I ain't nobody in Pacific.
They faking.
But I've watched friends where they parents done been married 45 years, but they sleep in 2 different rooms. They are the most dysfunctional because they try to hide everything, but the kids already know everything, and then we present it out in the public like it's well. But then they get out and then don't know how to adapt with relationships because all they know is that, oh, we try to make it look good. So let's just keep it real. We don't be honest enough. We may stay together 40 years, but for other 40, 20, 39 may not have been the best.
Yeah.
But hey, y'all still together.
And there's a difference between surviving marriage and thriving in marriage. I want to thrive.
And not only that, just the whole context of this, or if you unpack what he's thinking and try to apply that in other areas, that means if someone hadn't been to or have experience in certain areas that you're, needing help in, I mean, you can't ask them for advice on something. And I don't think most people even live their life like that. So if anybody comes and asks me, hey, Gerard, I need some advice on running this marathon, I could tell them, hey, you need to stretch to drink some water. I ain't never ran a marathon before. And maybe that ain't the best example, but my point is, just because you haven't had specific experience, that don't mean that you don't have some basic understanding of being honest, of listening, of being patient. Those things right there. Conflict resolution, you can take those tools of conflict resolution and put them in a variety of arenas, whether it's marriage, partnerships, friendships, business, anything right there. So yeah, Michael Houston, man, is a good buddy of mine. And hey, we're not saying that you're wrong, but I ain't saying you're right either. So hey.
And you did use a good analogy with the marathon runner, because he's going to need carbs and electrolytes to be sustainable through the race. There's going to be some times that he's going to be tired and he's going to have to refuel. It's the same thing with the relationship and marriage. You have to find the substance to be able to, what do I need to add to this to keep me being able to be strong and effective in the relationship or being present? Carbs, electrolytes. Because it's going to give you energy. I'll just use it. That's I like that one. But
he also said today's people don't fight for their marriage. And, sometimes it's our perspective and what we're limited in seeing. For if I find 2 or 3 people that don't fight for their relationship, I'll find you 5 or 10 that do. So, it looks different, and we got to be careful about narrowing our scope and our experience and acting as if that's an absolute fact and truth about relationships. Now, are there a lot of failed marriages now? Absolutely. But there are a lot of good, successful ones too. And I just will encourage people to make sure that you're around like-minded people that are pro-marriage, if that's your thing. Right?
Yeah,
they are married or not, they can be pro-marriage. So
can I give a statistic about marriage?
Please.
Now I am a man of God, and I live by the Bible. So what I'm about to say, I don't want anybody commenting, but I thought you was a man of God, because I am.
You hear me?
So marriages in America, 49% of them in divorce. I think we all know that 49% of marriages in divorce. In homosexual relationships, gay men marriages divorce rate is 22%. In lesbian marriages, the divorce rate is 76%. So the highest rate of divorces is between two women, which is interesting enough. And so that could bring up a different kind of conversation, like who is really the catalyst for divorces here? Because gay men, 22%, 22 to 24%.
Oh, Gregory, woman bashing. I'm just kidding, man.
I was just putting stats out there. I know. I don't want to get beat up. I'm about to get beat up.
Hey, Ivory said, "Love you from a distance," and that's probably what Gregory. She's probably responding to your comment about loving someone in their heart, or you have love in their heart, but it might be over, right? Who wants to take this from Brother Kenneth?
Even being the man of the household requires a level of submissiveness that's unspoken.
Yeah,
I believe. I'll agree.
Yeah, we said before on the show that leadership don't mean rulership, right?
No.
Like I rule and lord over you. Leaders, the best leaders know where they need assistance at and how to, share the responsibilities and know that, it takes a team. The old saying that 4 eyes are better than 2, and a host of them right there. So it's the numbers.
Mm-hmm.
And the Bible confirms that. It says that we should submit one to another.
Mm-hmm. But we eliminate that one
where it says, "Woman, submit yourself to your own husband." You're right. The verse before that does say it to each other. So
yeah.
And they love to use that one. We are one flesh.
Oh,
we are one flesh.
Yeah. Hey, D. Appreciate you tuning in.
I
would say when she gets quiet, start the clock. So she's talking about earlier what Gregory was saying.
You got 4 months to start the clock.
Hey.
Yeah, because when mine started, child, I actually left. It was the day after my anniversary. I made it to 2 years and I had a key to a new place when I came back home to talk about it.
Yeah. D said also say it loud for the people in the back, Nisha.
Mm-hmm.
Nisha, appreciate always our YouTube followers. Nisha said, once I prayed through a situation and given my all, I would leave without any plans or alternatives in sight. Yeah, she's done. She said, well, the same thing that Ivory and I was telling my cousin said earlier, they leave and they put the work in and they can leave understanding like, hey, and just at peace because they feel like they've done everything that they could have done to make that relationship work. So, and she goes on to say, I'm not coming back. Here was Corey laughing. I think he was laughing because I was being petty with him.
You talking about, I wonder why.
Yeah. Hey, I don't want to read this much, Gregory. I'm going to let you read it, man, and respond to it.
I feel like some people go back because they miss them and find comfort with their routine they had with their ex. Unfortunately, the familiarity only lasts for a short while, and almost all of the problems that caused them to break up in the first place, I guess, are cut off working.
Yeah, it's some more over there. It says in the first place, and then it's something about resurfacing, I believe.
I read this and caused them to break up in the first place, come back and cause them to break up again. So it's just that wash, rinse, and cycle all over again.
And then sometimes they won't break up again. They're gonna vow to stay together, whether they good or not. They just not gonna let the world know we not good, but we ain't divorcing either.
Yeah, those are people who have low self-esteem. And so you find people who feel more comfort with the devil that they know than the devil that they don't know.
Wow.
Because there is a lot of self-awareness of how do I measure up? Can I get someone better? Will someone ever love me? Well, at least I know Fred cares for me. At least I know what I'm getting with Fred. But if I go out and I find a new man, am I going to be able to keep up? Is he gonna like these extra pounds that I've gained? I know Fred likes these extra pounds, so I'm going to stay with Fred.
Yeah, that's good.
Mm-hmm.
Hey,
Snap.
yeah, my homeboy Charles from TK Pookie.
Hey,
Appreciate you.
Pookie.
I got a Pookie in the hood.
Oh, that's
Pookie
my
said,
cousin.
"Amen."
Hey, Pookie.
Amen. Girl, you saying what I've been thinking. Yeah. You be dropping in Vegas, man. So we already know that. So I ain't surprised. She said I don't type fast enough. My typing, like watching a Chinese movie, the mouse stop and the words keep going.
You doing good, girl.
Yeah, I don't know what comment is on everything. Greg spit is good, but Ivory was giving you shots out on something.
Thank you.
She said, "You hear me? We never know what is going on behind closed doors. Some people stay married just to say they're married. Say my husband, my wife. You're right. I would rather share my bed with my dogs and my remote than walk around in a house of silence." And you know what? You're right. That silence right there. You walking around just to say that we're together and you're not even speaking. That's torture. That's torture. So I have to agree with you on that.
That is the ultimate torture.
Yeah. Hey, Ron said, "Don't get canceled."
I know. I was fearful when I said those statistics. I was like, I don't know if people are going to receive that.
Hey, this is my homie Zach from Detroit. Appreciate you tuning in. He said I could see that as well. So it's been good. So I want to hit one more topic before we wrap up this discussion. And it was what we briefly talked about it earlier, but it says that you don't want to see them or see somebody else benefit from their growth. So you allow them to circle back. So, they're doing the work, they gone, they did the work, whatever, and you think they're grown and improved. You don't want them back, but you say like, you know what, I don't want to see him or her benefit somebody else. So I'm going to let them come back anyway. Is that kind of selfish? And do you think that their relationship going to thrive with that mindset?
It's completely selfish. I mean, I don't see how anybody wins in that scenario because the relationship isn't based on mutual affection, mutual interest, mutual respect, or mutual love. It's just based on status. Here's my trophy, and now look at me. I think that is a weak foundation, and it's bound to crumble.
Yeah. I see. You hear it all the time. Like, I don't want them, but I don't want nobody else to have them, right?
Yeah. And mine was, you when you have been in something that you know that you put in the work and you want it to be there and it just doesn't end like you want to, you can find yourself, I don't want to talk about people. I found myself trying to second guess it. And then it was like, oh, that's that, let me think about this. Oh, I can. And then in the end, knowing it ain't. And so you'll find yourself in that whirlwind of rethinking or trying to, say, oh yeah, we can still do it. No, we can't, because I'm telling you, you'll still begin to feel like you're suffocating and all of that. So my thing is looking at it and moving forward in my life. If you see them with the next person and they are better because of you, all I'm saying to the next person is you welcome. And I'm done with that.
Yeah.
You welcome.
You fine.
Yeah.
That's
you welcome.
That's some real.
You welcome, and I'll just say thank you. You welcome.
Corey said no on that too, so I agree with you. So, man, this has been a real good discussion. We're going to wrap it up here, and like always, we're just as full as the audience. I think I can speak on behalf of you both by saying that right there. Mm-hmm. We get as much as we pour out in these type of discussions. So we appreciate the audience for always tuning in and sharing their experience and pushing back on us with our understanding, because again, nobody knows everything, and a lot of what we spit and share is based off our perspective. So thanks for challenging us so that we can be better people as well. So this is my favorite part of the show. Zach said, yeah, that can keep on moving. I'm with you right here. And Nisha said, sounds like a recipe for resentment. Absolutely. Mm-hmm. Again, this is my favorite part of the show. This is where we ask Inspirational Chic to wrap this whole discussion up, give us some words of wisdom and what we call a love note, so that we can all have some positive, or even if it ain't positive, it might be some negative reinforcement of some stuff where we can grow and learn from this whole situation. So I see what you got for us.
Lord, look at Greg. Well, I just got a package delivered to the door, and then I had some things I had been writing. It's just befitting. All I know is you got a timeline. Let me get this my new medicine, timeline. There's a timeline for everything, and this just hit me now. There's a timeline when we go through relationships and all of that. And when that timeline, if you look in between here, between time and line is this line. So that means there's some, I would take that as the work to be done, or even the thought process that you need to think about if you're going to stay or you're going to exit. And when you do exit, you got enough time between there to understand how you need to work on yourself. Because at the end of the day, it's what you're willing to accept and to keep putting up with. If it's over, I don't feel like it's a need to spin the block. We can say our farewells and goodbyes. Sometimes we don't even have to say that. Sometimes you're not going to get the I'm sorry's, or I should have treated you better, and all of those things. Are you whole enough within yourself to know, yeah, that the hurt happened? It bothered me for a minute. Matter of fact, it's sometimes to do a really hard work on me. Can I process it enough to say, you know what? I deserve better, even if that's by myself for right now. That to know to bask in my own fragrance again, to love me freely and unapologetically, and moving forward, now I can love like I've never been hurt before. Because I've said that before. I'm loving like I ain't never been hurt before. There are some things that came that probably could have took me all the way out, but because I chose to come back and love me differently, there is no man that will now come into my presence that will come to me the wrong way, because my fragrance is totally different. The aroma of who I am and how I walk is differently. How I smell and operate is a whole different fragrance. So I'm not going to even attract what I used to, because I don't desire the toxicity anymore. I don't desire the imbalance. I don't desire brokenness in men anymore. If you're broken, I need you to do the work. If there's some things that you got issues that you need to be dealing with your mama, because sometimes it starts there first. And if you are a woman, you need to sometimes focus on what was wrong with you and your daddy. You got to face all of the outside stuff that will stop you from going down the wrong path over and over again. I told the Lord, I don't got therapeutic on my head. I don't got reviving. I don't got all of that. All I know, if I'm in a relationship, there is a sense of balance that will come going forward. I will no longer be imbalanced in a relationship, and I'm not putting in too much work that somebody not gonna give back. I'm not dying for you to live, baby. I'm gonna live so that we can live together. But I'm not doing that. So I challenge you. Don't you give so much of yourself that you gonna die while they live. Don't be the sacrificial sacrifice for nobody. And if you gonna do it, you live for you. And then you'll let those other things fall into place. Because I'm telling you, if you ain't got the proper oxygen, baby, the person that you get with that don't know how to do the right CPR on you and give you the right the amount of breath in your body, or the right pressures on your heart, you gonna flatline. And it's time out for that. We have lived through too much and experienced too much to keep going down broken cycles over and over and over again. So all I want you to know is that I write to myself, and on this thing over here, it says, I can do hard things. Can't stop, won't stop. And that's how I feel about me. I can do hard things, but there is no thing that say there's nothing that's impossible. There is no thing is too impossible for me. So I know the possibilities of the right relationship for me moving forward is now. I feel like the best part of who I am is now. It may have taken all the relationships that I've had to go through, 2 marriages, or whatever that may be, to get me to the best and better me and the healthy me, to be able to know how to sustain a healthy longevity relationship. And I'm not just talking about monetary and all that. I'm talking about everything. A friend I can laugh with. We can pray. We can be silly. We can love. We can do all of these things, and we can succeed in life. I can cheer you on, but I know you're going to be a cheerleader too. If we on the team, put me in, coach, and I'm a tag team. If we got to wrestle to take somebody else, body slam, baby, I got you. What you need me to do? I'm on a new level. That's all I want y'all to get on a new level. And that's all I'm telling you, because it's a timeline you on, and we don't know what's in between here, but I know you can put on the work to get to the end of that thing. And you ain't got to worry about no more commas, baby. You need to put some exclamation point on this part of your life and be done, finished, and over, because love is for you to have, baby, in the healthiest place that you can want to be in. And as I'm talking, I'm just looking at myself, and I just feel like I feel it all over me. Hello, love, where you been? Because I'm loving on me first. And that means loving on me. Everything that's connected and coming into my life is going to be a pure and easy transition. It won't be I ain't got to fight for nothing no more. We going to work on it, but we ain't fight. I'm not fighting for no relationship no more. I'm going to put in the work for it, but I'm going to nurture it, and I'm going to do what I need to do. Take that back. I'm going to tend to it, because nurturing is what mama's doing. I'm not momming nobody. So I'm going to tend to this thing, and I'm going to make sure that I, water you just right, and we're going to have a good time. We're going to get some sun on our skin, and we just going to drink our water. We're going to mind our business. Yeah.
Mind our black business.
Got to say.
What I see. That's good.
I love it.
Good. Greg, she talked about she ain't fighting no more. And I was just thinking that she was saying that love not supposed to hurt like some of these people experience. But it's always good when we hear from her. But this is where I know you dropped some gems from a different perspective. So this is you to give us your perspective, important thoughts.
I don't even know how to follow that, so I'm gonna keep it short.
You got
and sweet.
it. Come on, Greg.
I'm gonna give it to you like this. Everybody that's listening to us now, know this: you are worthy to be loved the way that you love, and anything less than that is unacceptable. And so, if anybody doesn't think that you are God's greatest gift to them, they're not the one. They're not the one. And so if someone doesn't love the way you love, respect the way that you respect, nurture the way that you nurture, care the way that you care, forgive the way that you forgive, encourage the way that you encourage, they're not the one. Because everything that you give, you are worthy to receive.
Yeah. Man, that's good. That's good. And, you know, I sit back and just listen to you both, and I appreciate the wisdom that you bring. But you know, sometimes connected to other people too. I was talking to my sister earlier, and man, it warmed my heart to hear her say what she said. First, she told me that she remember at one point she cried almost every day for 3 years straight, and it was painful to hear. But then she told me she was giving advice to one of her friends, and she had to tell her friend, like, you got to know your value and quit putting up with what you're putting up with. And they just told me that, you know, she had been through the fire and been refined, you know, what they talk about in scripture. My sister's a stronger person, you know, and she's still, you know, we're all going through things and challenges, but just to hear her give that piece of advice, you know, to somebody else, you know, she spoke it from the heart, and I know she meant it. So just telling people, like, you go through it, and life is such as that, right? You when you're in a relationship, you have to be vulnerable for that relationship to, you know, thrive at the highest level. But that can be one of the scariest things to do, is to be vulnerable, especially if you've been with someone who took advantage of your vulnerabilities and your transparencies. But, you know, for love to thrive, you got to give yourself a chance. So now we got to work on our picker. Who are we picking to be in our lives? So, you know, there's all kind of wisdom in that right there. So I would just encourage people to get with some therapists and some counselors, even though Mike don't think that you got a lot of value if you ain't been married. But, you know, hey, talk with people, bounce some ideas. And one other thing I want to say before I end my part. I saw a post that read, you can't make someone love you by giving them more of what they already don't appreciate. And when I read that, I was like, man, that right there hitting the soul right there. You can't make someone love you by giving them more of what they already don't appreciate. You know, and it's unfortunate part of relationships is that some people don't learn until they lose. And that's what accountability is, right? So instead of keep spinning the block, sometimes you got to have that discernment to know if it should or you shouldn't, you know, and there's no absolute way to know. And sometimes your heart no is your only level of protection. So you got to do what we always say, what's best for you, you know, let you be guided by some wisdom. And hopefully you're not out here just making emotionally felt decisions, because sometimes we end up regretting those the most. So those are my words right there. And I appreciate the audience, man. We got some of the dopest audiences out there.
Yeah, we do.
We do.
Yeah.
So 100%.
You know, when we hit big, we coming to get all y'all. So be ready.
We got $5 chicken legs.
$5 chicken legs.
Y'all gonna get a chicken plate.
Yeah. So this is where we're gonna call it quits. Everybody, we appreciate you. My homeboy Kiki, you're a day late and $1 short. You know, we ain't had him on the show in a while. Maybe we can convince him to come back.
KK, how you doing? Where you been at?
But yeah, we appreciate everybody. We're gonna get ready to close this thing down. You know, I see we appreciate the wisdom. What you see? Right.
Kiki said he like that. I got you.
Yeah, that boy right there, man. He crazy, man. Hey, Kiki, I was talking to I was on a cruise a couple weeks ago with my nieces and nephews and sisters, and they was talking about you when we did that album release party at my house. You know, Kiki, a musician. You know, I used to dabble in music, managed a couple music groups too. But yeah, it was fun, man. It was fun. So
okay.
Hey, Monetta says she's late, but hey, go back and
we was looking for you.
What's up, sis?
But Greg, won't you close us out?
Hey, definitely. Hey, guys, thank you so much for spending your time with us, because the most valuable thing that we have is time. So we don't take it for granted that you spent your time with us this evening. We hope it was a blessing to you, because you were a blessing to us. Hey, we want your feedback. Hey, let us know in the comments what topic you want us to discuss and want us to talk about. How can we serve you better? But most of all, we do want you to like and share and follow us. Let the world know that we give it to you every time we log on. And so please, hey, we love you guys. Keep following us. Share if this blessed you, which we know that it did. Let your friends know where to get the real. And we look forward to serving you guys in the future. Yeah. I had something else to say, but I'm gonna keep it to myself. Never mind.
Okay.
Won't need another. This one here really do it for you.
Baby, you forget it. Yeah, baby, I mean it. Baby, come down to it. Let me show you how to do it.
Now it's my turn to tell y'all about my big bro Gerard and the podcast crew.
Love y'all. Mwah.
Great time. You guys are the best.